I am live.
Volt, I believe you can actually make yourself a speaker.
There should be a green thing up top. It says like accept or something. Yeah, I think that's what happened to me.
Is your
He's requesting to speak.
Yeah, Volt.
Oh.
Yeah, if I do this, and then Volt, down in the bottom toolbar, next to some of the different buttons, there should be a button down there that you can hit that will pull you up into the speakers.
I did notice one weird thing. The order, it's not an alphabetical order, unlike most Discord channels. Yeah.
It looks like it goes back by rank. I don't know. It goes Frumple at the bottom, then Chief, which is displayed differently as head admin.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing?
Volt, Volt, you don't need a request to become speaker. You just...
There's something wrong with Volp's permissions. Let me check.
No, he's got the right permissions.
Nope.
Can we not just drag people on?
I think we can.
Yeah, we can only invite to speak, and then he has to click accept. So, Volt, pay attention. Let's try this.
Click the right button.
Apologies to everyone while we deal with this technical issue.
Well, we deal with the fact that Volt is not pressing the right button.
Did say about getting a coffee, sir.
Wrong button, Volp.
Okay.
Jerk.
I also DM'd him, but
Yeah.
okay. While we're waiting for Volt to resolve himself, hi everybody. We can go ahead and get started. If someone could please not go nuts with the jukeboxes or the lime carpet or whatever. Jeez, some of y'all are nuts. Welcome to the June 2021 General Staff Meeting. Staff present are everybody except Sinra and Tom, I believe. So that is Dalt, Echo, Kyle, CCAP, Skelly, Chief, Frumple, Volp is figuring himself out. Okay. Anyway, so we can go ahead and get started. First of all, got a couple announcements. Number one, for those of you who have not seen the Discord announcements channel, we are sad to announce 2 departures from the moderator team. Vicky has stepped down, and she posted her resignation notice in the announcements channel a little while back. And then Unjins has been suspended for inactivity. Both of these, as many of you know, have been around for quite some time and have done a lot of great stuff with us during their time on staff, and we are sad to see them go. Looking a little bit forward to hopefully bringing on additional staff members over the coming months. The thing that we talked about was mostly an internal thing. Specifically, we are hoping that as we bring on new staff members that we're going to have a bit more of a formal onboarding and mentorship process, specifically so that newer staff members as they join, that they can get a little bit more guidance in how to use the different tools that are available and how to approach all the situations that tend to come up day to day while serving on the staff team. So this doesn't really affect a whole lot of people, except if anybody ends up being promoted today, there will be a bit of a conversation that we'll have with them to figure out making sure that they are onboarded and able to be successful in their first, well, throughout their time of being on staff, but especially in their first few months.
Specifically, we're going to assign another staff member, existing staff member who's willing to be a mentor to that new mod. Like it'll be a direct assignment. So.
Hey. Well, that is. Cody asks, would that mentorship continue past the first few months? So it's intended to really focus on those first few months. I think most of the time, once staff have been onboarded, the idea is that if you have questions about specific stuff, that you can just ask anybody. And we're all meant to be here to help each other, but it's specifically for those first couple months of being on board that we just want to make sure that we're providing dedicated support in the form of a specific assigned person. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and randomize the list of staff for voting as we're looking at our mod candidates.
Cece, are you on minutes?
Yes.
Check.
Yeah, I've got it
To
open.
randomize.
I was doing the broadcast stuff too while she was talking.
And just to review, the process right now is supermajority 4, right?
No, it is simple majority for.
Or 3 votes against to block.
So, to be clear, we have 9 staff here. There are no absentee ballots that has been sent to chief. So, in order to be promoted, you would need 4 votes, and you cannot get more than you cannot get 3 or more against votes.
Okay. So, our first candidate up for consideration is Needin_NL. I have randomized the list. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Okay. Volp.
Damn it. I would like to be last. I
randomized the list and it put you first.
Well, you have to vote.
Why is it again? Damn it.
That's not how the random.org goes.
You can change it later, Volp, if you really aren't sure.
Okay, I'll abstain for now then.
Well,
You can't abstain.
hold on. If you're abstaining,
no abstain
that
votes.
changes the number of votes. It's either neutral or abstain. You gotta be very clear.
I swear to God, I know what I'm doing. I swear to God, I'm not on something or other.
Are you abstaining or not, Volp?
Neutral for now then.
Okay.
Cece.
I'm going neutral for now, but I will say I can be persuaded.
Okay, Echo.
I'm going to vote no by a narrow margin,
Trumple.
but I can be persuaded as well.
I'm voting for, though I have conditions, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay, Kyle.
Against.
AP.
A 4.
Okay, Dolt.
I I will vote neutral for now.
Okay. Who's next? Skelly.
4.
Chief is a yes. So initial vote is 4 in favor. 4 in favor. Switch your vote? What would you like to switch to?
4. I'm just looking through the evidence again and like, yeah, this is enough for me.
Also just to a 4. That is 5 in favor, 2 neutral, 2 against.
Okay.
Sorry, pause
So-
on coloring.
I think it's fair to say I'm getting the sense that some votes are very what's the word? They're malleable.
Positive.
Yeah. Like
I'm very weak right now. Like I'm on the very borderline.
okay.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm
Between
staying persuaded.
So CC between neutral and what?
Between neutral and 4.
Okay.
I'm mainly iffy with the current interaction with Kyle and Needham. And that's kind of got me a little pause right now for me going 4. And I'm curious to know whether that was what Frumple's condition is.
It actually isn't.
Okay.
So I did discuss this a little bit before in the private. I just want to point it out, but my position is if it's just in disagreement with one other staff member, then I think that's and everyone else votes for or wants that person in, I think that's fine. It just needs to be worked out between those two. If I saw more personal conflicts between the candidate and several staff members, then I'd be a lot more wary. My condition is actually regarding Needham's. Well, actually, before I get the condition, let me explain why I'm voting for. I looked through the evidence. There is one part, like all of it's fairly okay. I mean, somewhat valid, sometimes some of it not. The one part that really pushed me over was actually Frog's evidence, particularly the first 4 Discord links. If you look there, I think it really shows. I think those links really show that Needham. I think he really cares about other people, and it's out of sincerity, not like it's like he wants to help. And as long as he has that intent behind that, I think that puts him a good way toward being a moderator, in my opinion. That basically pushed me to 4. The condition I have, though, and it's my concern, is his communication skills. The way he conveys himself, and this might have come up in the last nomination, I see it can get misinterpreted very easily. To the point where people may interpret it as like rudeness or even disrespect. I think it's something that Needham can work on. That's my condition. Like, I think it's something I don't think it's worth saying no at this point. I think it's something he can work on in the future. So,
In terms of what you said,
I agree.
are you referencing
Communicate.
maybe like one of the past evidences that they put where they were showing like where they were saying Needham was a bit rude? Is that what you're referencing to?
sorry, which one were you talking about?
It was one of the past evidences where somebody had, I think it was Noah, it was like that sounded a little bit rude, Needham. Are you referencing that evidence, like that conversation?
It's actually what I'm referring to is actually my personal interactions with Needham. So I don't have evidence of that, unfortunately. But I did have difficulty. I'll give an example. When I was trying to talk to Needham about his interactions with Kyle, like, did you resolve it? Did you talk with Kyle? I had trouble getting specifics from Needham. Like, he tended to ramble about basically a lot of extra words that I don't think were needed. It basically got in the way, and I think it's something that can be overcome, but it's just like
I'll second that. I have had some questions for Eden before, and I've been shot with a long, rambling post, which made it rather hard to get to the bottom of it. But I will say it's a lot easier to learn how to be concise than it is to learn, more emotional intelligence and empathy, which I think he's already very good at.
I mean,
Yeah,
I should
it's
probably clarify my vote. I'm not voting because I'm not pissed at Needham or anything. Like, I'm like over what happened. Like, nothing. Like, I know people theorize about what happened. It wasn't like we don't hate each other. I just think personally the communication stuff, yeah, and also, it's just like sort of like a weird way of like sometimes when he says stuff, it comes across very it's a coin toss, and sometimes you can't have that coin toss. Like in his response to Skelly's stuff about it, the question was, "What did you learn?" Or like, I think it was, "How did you grow as a person?" And then I think he said, "I learned that I need evidence for my accusations next time," which made me go like, "Wait, so you just don't want to look bad?" And so it just came across a little weird, and I know I might be misinterpreting a little.
So Kyle, if you want to vote against because of his communication skills, or if anyone else wants to, I totally respect that opinion. But one thing I'd have to point out is that Needham's intent? Because that's like, was that his intent to come off that way?
I mean, I don't really. I hope not.
That's kind of
think
what
so.
Needham is saying that it was worded wrong. In normal chat, Needham is saying that was worded wrong.
That's why I kind of wanted you to talk to Needham, because I feel like, again, I feel like you guys are talking past each other and not getting each other.
I think something. Oh, my apologies for interrupting you, Frumple.
Oh no, sorry, I'm done. Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead.
It's something else is that I don't believe Needham is a native speaker of the English language, which is why some things seem to come out wrong. But that shouldn't really be an impediment to whether he can perform his job or not.
I think he's Dutch. I mean, the DNL is a big hint, but
Yeah, I know he's not native to the English language,
Dutch.
but like the impediment comes when like, for example, when I was like, I think he DM'd me saying like, "Do you want to have a chat about it?" And I was like, "Sure." And then the next sentence was like, "Here's like 3 things you can do better as a mod." And I was like, "Okay, like that's valid criticism." It's just sort of like the timing of certain things may make it difficult to do the stuff you need to do in mod, you know?
I don't understand what was wrong about what he said there. It's fine. I don't think it's really a wrong time.
I think the way I can see what Kyle's saying here, because we are referring to a DM here, so it's going to be confusing to everyone else here. But from how I interpret the way it was worded, it's definitely not the best, because it basically said, "Yeah, I'm not over it except for this, except for that." I'm like, that's not. If you want to be,
that's what caused me a little pause.
If you want to come off sincere, you don't say, we're good except, or we're good but, like, it's, yeah.
Because that's what caused me a little pause, and what's kind of holding me from going forward was that, like, the way that he addressed that, because you don't want to just go immediately accusatory. Because that's like really what's kind of holding me from voting for, in the sense, like, I do agree, I do think he cares. I'm just worried about how he approaches that side of the communication.
I think I'm with Frumple on this. I think the intent and the intent and the empathy is there, and that's necessary. The communication skills are not entirely perfect, but whose communication skills are, let's face it. I think that is something we can probably work on with Needham, as we can probably work on with Needham. And I don't see that as a major negative. I don't see that as enough of a negative to vote against.
Ultimately, I think what matters more than anything else is, even if it comes out a bit wonky, it's primarily the intent. Like, if Needham's intent with his response to Skelly was bad or malicious or just trying to look good, then yeah, it's a very good reason to vote against. But knowing Needham, knowing how he carries himself and how he does behave, it's probably just terrible wording, and I can actually see what he's going at here. Like, yeah, don't accuse people without evidence is what he's saying. He's just, I think, and that's not exactly a bad thing.
That's how I interpret that as well.
Yeah. In the interest of moving on, for those who are Well, I would just open generally. Would anyone like to change their vote?
I'm going to change my vote to a neutral.
Okay.
I think the arguments presented here were fair. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable voting yes, but it's not like my vote would change anything anyways. So,
Oh, it's
yeah.
I mean, you
That's
certainly
valid.
have. It's a valid thing to change. So okay. That's been recorded.
I'll give Needham a shot. I'll go with 4 here. I'll switch to 4 because I'll give him the shot.
CC changes to a yes. So that's a. The vote total is 6-2. No, it's 6-1-2 because it's yes, no, neutral.
I'll just change to neutral. Like, I mean, like I get the empathy arguments. So there's weighting on both sides.
6-3.
Yeah.
6-0-3. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Again, the condition is. I think we can agree. That, like my condition, I think applies here. Like, he needs
Yeah, I
to
agree
work.
with you from both
He
fully.
he needs to work on communication, and I don't. Hopefully, he doesn't fail at that or anything. But I mean, it's very important because I do worry that later on, if he he's a mod and he goes deals with other people and they misinterpret him, which has happened already a lot. That's not going to go very well. So yeah.
And I think that's something we've all had issues with. Like, you've all said stuff that it was intended one way and then it came off completely differently, and you didn't realize it at first until somebody took issue with it. So
I do think it's a lot more distinct with Needham, it seems.
Yeah,
like it's just
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not just like someone had to tell him like, hey, maybe that's not the best thing. Like, some of the time, I think like regardless of language barrier, you should probably know that that's not okay. Like what he said to me originally was like I'm not gonna detail into it because that's private, but that everyone in this channel knows like that wasn't a very good accusation based on no facts. So
Okay. Seeing that the vote is 6-0-3, unless there are any last minute changes, that is a passing nomination. So any last minute changes? Otherwise, we will certify that and move on to the next item. Going once. Going twice. That is certified 6-0-3. Congratulations, Needham.
Volpe, can we hear you now?
Does this sound better? I just fiddled with the mic. I can actually fiddle with the gain. How's that? Is that better?
It's a bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Needham, the way that this is going to work is, so I've set your in-game permissions. We will take care of the rest of your stuff following the GSM. You do not need to do anything with the rest of the meeting. You can sit back and chill. You don't vote in the rest of the meeting. And your term of service will take effect immediately following the end of the meeting. Okay, welcome aboard, Needham, and we'll chat with you to figure out onboarding and stuff at the end of the meeting. Next up is Missa Solemnis.
Sorry, after the meeting, I guess that would be when we do the figure out the tutoring thing or.
Yep. We'll discuss in staff channel. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that after.
Yeah.
So. Yep. Because it's like there's no point doing it now because we have a meeting to get through.
Next.
Okay, next up is Missa Solemnis. Everyone ready?
I swear to God, if I get forced to vote first.
Volp, you are not first to vote.
Yay!
Okay, first to vote on Missa will be Dult.
Oh, wow. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to vote neutral for now, and then it's open to switching.
AP.
I'm going to vote on the 4 side.
Echo.
I'm going to go neutral, leaning towards a 4, but I'm going to see what people have to say before.
Skelly.
4.
Volp.
I'm gonna say 4, but leaning neutral. If that makes sense.
Okay. Chief is a yes. Susie?
4.
That backwards. Let's fix that front bowl.
4.
You said you're yes, front bowl?
Yeah, 4. Sorry.
Thank you. And Kyle?
In favor.
That is a vote of 7-0-2.
The only thing I could possibly say against Misa is activity. That's it. That's the only downside I can see with him.
The only downside for me is that he doesn't have as many attachments into the community as some other possible candidates do. However, he doesn't waste his words, and I think that's a good thing and a negative thing.
Hold on. Why would that be a negative thing? Like,
well, I mean, like sometimes he doesn't he doesn't talk to people in a incredibly casual manner. Sometimes
is that necessarily a bad thing though? Because I feel like that, you could argue that he chooses his word. When he chooses to talk, it's important stuff to say.
Yeah. The only context it would be negative is just that there's less social engagement.
I see. Okay.
Well, we were talking at one of the earlier GSMs, I think, about those people who were maybe lesser profile, but still lead by example, right? And I think Mr. Solemnis, from my interactions that I've had with them over the server, they may not have a high profile, but I definitely think he fits into that category.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I was looking through the evidence, it wasn't that much compared to other candidates we've had. But of the evidence that was there, it did show that he was. There were several examples of where he was trying to be helpful, and I think that's a plus for him.
Yeah,
it's huge. Yeah,
that too with me is whenever he does type, it's very long, but it's also very detailed. I think, especially in the serious answer with the colleges, he tried to phrase his words, I think, very, almost eloquently, I would say, but I think he got his point across. And I definitely know he's quiet, yeah, but he does make sure he gets his point across.
And with the activity thing, he's actually on Minecraft. He doesn't talk on Discord that much, but he's actually on Minecraft fairly regularly. I think at least a couple days a week, he comes on the server and builds and works on his project. So I don't think he's inactive.
Yes, I think he was inactive a really long time ago, and I think that's what I'm thinking of. But looking at it even the scene just shows he was on an hour ago. So yeah, I don't think it's that big of a thing anymore for me.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere recently, but it seems like he's more active now. So I think the evidence, while there's not as much as other candidates, is pretty all right.
I don't think that it doesn't have the quantity, but it's definitely very potent for what it is.
Yeah, it certainly makes up for it. So
yeah, Misa's been on the server for a pretty long time.
He was. I remember when I was a mayor or citizen. I remember looking at him. He was always online, but he never said anything. I always wanted to is he okay? Is he fine?
Yeah,
yeah, and that's where the sort of negative comes out of it. But yeah.
Well, I would like to change my vote. Initially, I voted neutral because I was not really moved by this evidence. I kind of disagree that the quality makes up for the quantity. I was just, since I don't have many interactions with Misa, I was kind of looking to this evidence to give me an idea, and I really didn't get much from this evidence. However, based on everyone else's support, I am comfortable with voting for 4.
Yeah, I'm willing to vote 4 just to make it clean. I think I'm willing to give him a try.
I mean, if you really
don't worry
don't
worry about the numbers. If you want to support out of your own volition, then do that. But because there's no difference.
I was already on the edge going to 4, so I think.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I'm willing to give him a try.
We just don't want to make sure it's not peer pressure. Everyone else is
Let's
vote 4.
I'd like to vote against just to ruin the clean vote.
Good.
Was that sarcasm or?
Oh, I
think that was sarcasm.
That's another kick. Yep.
I think that was sarcasm, but I just wanted to be sure. Okay, so I guess if we're into the vote changing, anyone else want to change their votes, or are we going to certify this as a unanimous promotion? Going once? Going twice? That is a unanimous promotion, 9-0-0.
Ooh.
So there we go. So 2 new mods joining the team. So congratulations to both Needon and Misa, or Misa, or however that's actually supposed to be pronounced.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Misa solemnis.
Really?
Well, it's a Latin word that means solemn mass.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the Latin pronunciation would be Misa solemnis.
Never gonna be able to pronounce that.
We'll figure that out.
Moosey.
Anyway. Okay. Cool. Let's. In that case, we now move on to 5A.
All right, Chief.
So, all right. So this, and I know that we've got a couple different ways of wording it. This is basically, I've had a couple questions, and it hasn't been super bad recently, but I know that in the past there were issues. People were using items or spawning things in that were particularly powerful and like either causing unexpected enchantment effects or potentially being able to actually cause damage to the server. Like if you have a knockback that's stupid high, you can load in chunks a whole lot. Kitty, it's not extra. There's a question, and we don't have an official policy on what you can and cannot import. So, so I know that Frumple put in a proposal that kind of generalizes a bunch of stuff that's like, yeah, don't break the stuff. I'm trying to be specific in answering the question because I have been asked, like, what enchantment level are we allowed to use? And so I've put just to not be, or just to make sure that we're being fair to those people who are not familiar with the advanced item generation stuff, that you can still spawn in what you need, and then if you need to go higher, that's fine. Like we'll just ask us in game.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the angle that I'm coming out with my thing.
I understand why I understand where Chief's coming from. I discussed this in forum. Like Chief's proposal is very proactive, whereas mine is still along the lines of the reactive things that we do, like reactive actions that we do when we come across people using bad mods, hacks, or items. But again, my concern is by being specific, it's going to become a list that'll grow and have to be maintained, and we have to be very specific about certain things. I just don't think it's worth saying these. I think it's worth also noting what is actually motivating, what kind of recent events have motivated this. I want to mention, let's start with, so there's Random's horse, the Equus something, I can't remember the whole name, that some people found in Central City. That was used for his Mu1 Grand Prix, but it was found out that horse couldn't be killed by normal means. So I actually had to go op myself and do Minecraft kill on it to get rid of it. Like those sort of things, I mean, it doesn't damage the server, but it is something that can't be killed, so we want to avoid that sort of stuff. There was also...
Yeah, the other...
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I'm also just trying to think of, just recently I was hearing that people were getting the black hole fireworks out again. It's like those cause a lot of client-side lag.
Yeah.
So, especially if you shoot them off a crossbow, like, good lord, that's going to cause problems, especially for anyone who's on a slow connection or not a beefy computer.
Yeah. The other instance I want to mention, which some of them aren't terribly relevant, there was a shulker, the crashes that happened a couple weeks ago, where apparently guests, I think they were putting shulker box in shulker boxes. That was because of an error on the World Guard regions, both in Central Park and Central City. Apparently chest access was allowed for guests. That has been turned off now, so that sort of thing should never happen again. We will hopefully never see that sort of crash again. And then there's also, Chief, you had those guests that were having that sword, that overpowered sword that they were importing through their toolbar. Like,
yeah, they were just running around and just killing each other, and
Yeah.
I don't think that they were that. I mean, at least initially, it seemed like that the one-shottedness was unexpected. Because, I mean, I'm fine with having one-shot kill weapons, but in the context that people are aware that that's what's happening. So, and
yeah.
from what I saw, like it looked like it was just coming out and that people were caught off guard.
Yeah. Honestly, we're gonna get guests that put in stuff like that all the time, and
Guests don't read the rules. I'm fully aware.
Yeah, they're not gonna, regardless of what either of these rules. I honestly, like, they're just gonna do it anyway. So I think, yeah, so I guess what we really need to focus discussion on is on members. Do members want? Here's a good question. Do members want a specific list, like to list out everything that is allowed or disallowed? Because as Chief has said, he's been asked, and I'm kind of posing the question to people in chat right now.
I think a general rule is fine because I mean, I think even the way you use things can make things harmful or harmless.
Well, that's also why and again, stuff that isn't on the list, you can still use. It's just you have to ask because it's stuff that is more likely to cause problems. So, like, if the reason that I said like potions that you have to drink that's not splash or lingering, I'm like, those I'm happy to just exempt and let them go, as much as you need, just because you have to look at it in your inventory.
I think we need to go with the KISS principle here and just go with Frumple's thing rather than end up generating a whole lot of bureaucracy that would be unneeded with importing all these things.
But Skelly, again, but again, so that the one caveat is that's based on, it says that it's going to cause a negative experience, but people have different definitions of what that is, and so and people like to like, if people are going to ask questions of is this allowed, I do like the idea. I mean, again, I get where you're coming from. I want to try and have consistency in our responses.
In that sense, I disagree, Chief, because I think it's fairly easy to determine what is negative for other players. And to be clear, it's negative, it's specifically other players. If the person using the weapon starts arguing that, oh no, I'm not causing a negative experience, no, they are. They're causing lag to other people, they're killing other people. Like, I think it's fairly obvious in those cases.
Frankly, I don't think this is enough of an issue to create like a needless bureaucracy around it. And when it is an issue, it's more a case of just being annoying to other players, which is also, not tolerated.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we need this specific thing to ban specific potions or whatever. Like, if you just,
I trust the membership to use common sense and, well, I'm talking about members here, not the guests. I trust the average member to have the common sense to know what exactly is and isn't going to cause a negative experience, especially when Frumple already wrote down examples of what that may mean. So, borderline cases, like, my apologies for not being able to come up with an example of a borderline case.
I think
but a borderline case can be answered on the spot rather than.
Yeah, that was my intent too. Is like, if we need to talk about something that's beyond that, then we just handle it in game on the spot. So it's not meant to create. The only amount of extra like bureaucracy that it would have created would have been maintaining the list. But no, I think that's fine. That we can go with that other way of doing it. So.
Okay. I did see from when I posed the question of whether they wanted the list or not, it was, I don't know, mixed, I guess. I did see a couple, I'd see like one yes have that there. Oh, and yeah.
If we do genuinely need a list, I don't think it stops us from making that later.
I'm fine just the simple with Frumple. I think if there's any if we're unsure, that's why the rest of the staff are here with Discord. We can just check.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of ones that we know right now are things that are definitely not okay. So black hole fireworks, get rid of them. Stuff with like stupid high knockback, get rid of it.
I mean, we know that already because we know it crashes lag. It does lag on the server. It would be captured by that rule.
Noah, if you don't know what it is, then you don't need to worry about it. So
it's how admins have fun every evening. You don't need to worry about it.
That sounds wrong. Okay. So sounds like we'll go.
Admins have fun.
What does this? How do you define fun?
Well, I'll show you. I'll do something fun.
Okay.
Wolvolp is doing.
That's fun.
Oh.
I like that's very fun.
Anyway, moving on to.
Okay.
Moving on to. Okay, so it sounds like we are good on going with Frumple's proposal of wording it. So just clarifying that in a general sense.
Yeah. If it becomes a big problem later on where people are consistently pushing this rule, then I can see a need for a list, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's happened that much. He's trying to remember.
Okay. All right. So that answers that. 5B meeting scheduling. This looks right for following the usual pattern.
Yep. Just pointing out the only two differences here is there is a July GSM, mainly for two reasons. More opportunity to consider new staff, and also there's unlikely. Well, not there isn't going to be a Yoshi scale event around the anniversary. So yeah, there is. I think we have time to do that. And the other difference is the ISM for July is moved back a week to space things out.
Forward a week.
No, back or yeah, you know what I mean.
Yep, and then as usual, the December ISM is canceled.
Yep.
So the last meeting of the year will be December General on the 12th. Okay.
Is there any objections?
Fine.
Go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think between you and me that we'll have these covered. So I think I've mentioned to you which ones I would need you to fill in for me on. So
sure, you can let me know.
Yep. Okay, cool. Moving on. 6A, Transport Projects B989, Harbor. Thank you for actually submitting a annotated map this time.
Yes and no. They didn't really label until Skelly asked the questions about it.
Right, but at least it has markers on it, is the thing that can be referenced. So
honestly, it's a really short road within the vicinity of all the towns. I'm just happy approving it as is.
Yep,
this is fine.
Me too.
I mean, it's finally there. Yeah, it's finally a proposal. So yeah, I'll fine with it.
Any objections going once? Going twice? Approved. 6B. Someone to finish the A8.
Yeah, Vicky.
So,
sorry, go ahead, AP.
Sorry, yeah, if you go
I
ahead.
need to do it. No.
No, go for it. Go ahead and say what you said. I want to say.
I was going to say I think I would be willing to take this on as the next project. Because in terms of I don't have any major scale projects to be doing at the minute on the MRT. I find that usually gives us some motivation. The A45 is incomplete, yes, but there is my section of it is complete. Echo.
Yeah, don't blame him.
But yeah, I think considering going into this summer and considering I'll have a lot more time when the dissertation is put in, I'd be happy taking on the A8 for myself. I'd be happy taking on the A8 myself.
Okay, that makes it easy. Vicky,
That answers that.
Vicky was having
Thank
trouble
you, AP.
finding someone, but sure, AP can take it unless there's objections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That answers that then. 7A. Skelly, you want to run Taco Burrito-a-thon for the 21st and 22nd time.
Yes.
I've also known that there's a date change also, Skelly, right? So it's been moved. The 22nd's been moved up back a week, I should say.
I'm fine with all this.
Yeah, this has been run consistently well every time, so I don't see any reason why not.
I was just trying to check the funding.
It's
Pretty
close enough to in line with what he's done before. I have no problem with this. Okay. Any objections going once? Going twice? Approved. 7B, Dead Bush Games 1. Do we know what the interest level is?
Yes, there have. It's not been put onto the agenda, but in media announcements, and I'll put a link to it in somewhere. In meeting, I'll put a link to it in Meeting Live. There has been a poll and of gauging interest, and 11 party poppers and 2 ticks. It would have been nice for that to be on the. It would have been nice for that to be on the proposal itself, but
yeah, that would have been good to just make it easier. But okay, so there is interest.
For note, he sent the poll after the agenda. It was added to the agenda, so that was kind of the main reason. He probably just didn't do a comment, but anyway,
You could have just modified the original document too. So I mean, yeah.
Why would you send it without having interest gauged first?
I don't know.
I think Mo just forgot.
yeah. I know Mojang had something similar earlier, and it didn't finish.
so it feels a little bit chicken and egg. How do you gauge interest for something without describing it? And also, how do you plan something without knowing the interest in it?
Well, no,
Yeah, Mojang Games did happen, and that's the one that didn't really finish. That was the one that they started and didn't finish fully.
So the only concern that I have, and this is something that I wouldn't vote to block, I would just say it may need to be adjusted, is the timing. Is that 9 a.m. Singapore time is the middle of the night for the US and Europe.
It's not the middle of the night for the US. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time and 6 p.m. Pacific time.
No, he says 9 a.m. UTC plus 8.
Yeah, 9 a.m. UTC plus 8 is 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, right.
Even then, I don't think that should matter because there events in
then never mind.
Asian Pacific time zones we've approved before, particularly like Prague Summer Games, and those have been still well attended. I don't think that matters here. It does make it more difficult. It does make it more difficult to find people, but that's the reality of how things are.
Yeah, if Mojang's dedicating his time, hopefully I want him to get it. I want him to actually do it. I'm just saying to be wary.
Sure. Okay. That being resolved, I'm happy to approve.
Are we fine with the amount of funding?
That's not bad. It's
like 1,000, 2,000 and it's an event that is well planned out. I mean, it's got multiple, mini events. It's got multiple stages to it.
It has a point system, which I don't usually see in events. So,
there's not I don't see any major problems with this, so I think it's fine.
Sounds like approval.
Yep.
7C, MGA Anniversary Tournament. I think I'm happy
London
with
wants
this.
London wants a bigger prize pool for the anniversary. These have been run well in the past. I'm fine with this. What's the interest?
Sorry. Oh.
7 people said they're interested. There may be more that arrive on that day.
I love the wonderful line in this. The date for this will be July 11th. However, this is subject to change if England reaches the final of Euro 2020. This is unlikely.
At 7 p.m. UTC. Having it literally during the general staff meeting.
Is it?
Oh no, the meeting's the 10th.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Chief?
Chief, I think your calendar's broken.
Days are hard.
And so are time zones, apparently.
Just the concept of time is hard. Okay. So cool. So then in that case, any objections to proving this?
If he takes out an insult towards the English football team, sure. I'll prove it. We all know
any objections?
It's factual, but like, come on.
Any objections to approving over Volp stand aside?
Yes, let's overrule Volp here. Let's just prove it.
Well, no. I'm declaring Volp's thing a stand aside rather than an objection. So.
How does that
Moving on.
Moving on. That's approved. London also wants to do a pub quiz.
The prize pool's the same as last time, but the participation reward has been doubled. We want to try and get more people in. Should be fine. We've always had really good attendance, but more is always fun.
Volp, are you going to be assisting like you have in the past?
Yep, I very much will be.
Has the participation actually been increasing or decreasing? Because I've been hearing some mixed things about that.
I'm not sure. We've always had a really steady participation. I think it has decreased slightly, but that was because I think the last time usually the host participates, but last time the host just kind of dropped out after like a single category, which was odd. But yeah, okay. I think for the most part it's been pretty fine. It's just more people's always fun.
Okay, I mean as long as there's like a half dozen people still and all the prizes are taken out.
Oh yeah, no, I think we're. I can actually pull up the last one. Hold on. Last time we got. Let's see. 9 participants.
That's adequate.
8 people made it to the 8 people made it to the end. So yeah, we had 8 full participants.
Okay.
Happy to prove.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 IATs and bypasses.
This one's related to that road, right? From
yes,
yeah.
8A.
Or it's west of that road, I should say.
Yeah, it's
so
that area.
I mean, gives him good enough reason to justify extending the road later if he wants to. So.
It's closer to Lab, but then Lab said it's okay for Harbor to take it because they're like all one region. Is what Harbor's doing.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the original owner of that ski resort? Was that determined? And is the person?
I don't think they knew.
Okay, so if you don't know, they can't contact because they don't know. Right,
exactly.
So. Okay.
Right. Okay, I'm fine with this.
Hey, Needham, don't kick people if they're asking for it. It's less fun that way.
Can we just stop kicking people, please? Like.
No. I mean, yes, but.
Okay.
And not yourself either,
right.
Jesus.
Volp. Bad Volp.
Kick the admin.
Kick yourself. Okay. So no objections on 8A going with an approve unless going once, going twice. Approved. 8B. Cruise ships in the MRT Marina.
I believe Skelly was bringing this up earlier, and it's a mystery, I think.
This is why we have the IAT process partially, is so that in case something winds up getting lost, that we can restart its paper trail.
Yeah. So according to Niner, they contacted Tom. I'm assuming Tom doesn't know who. It's in his marina, but he doesn't know who built them. And
yeah, Tom recommended. It says, and he recommended. He being Tom recommended that I, meaning airplane, inquire among the MRT about the origin of the ships. We decided to wait a week on any information.
Yeah.
And sounds like neither of them got anything.
And Skelly, you said you contacted Yoshi about it, and there's nothing.
Other than Yoshi saying that it definitely wasn't Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, Ceci, if you could fuck up and roll me to admin instead of mod when you're done, that'd be great. Oh.
Yeah, it's they're two of the biggest ships in that marina, and we probably do need somebody who owns them. Just to restart the paper trail. I'm very happy approving both.
Yeah, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, add more stuff to Cruise Line fad. Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
It is a thing.
Yeah, that's this year's fad. First it was
it's better than airplanes.
Then it was the blimps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are pretty big. So
put some skirts on it. Make it a hovercraft.
Oh no! now we're starting that fad.
Hover cruises, yes.
Skirt.
Okay. Yes.
Does anyone have any last-minute emergency things that we need to bring up? Because otherwise, that is the end of the agenda, and we can start taking questions.
Yep.
Philippi, am I being funny quoted?
Why do I have 2 pings?
Oh, yeah, those will be for me.
Okay.
That is from you.
Honestly, we're only an hour and 15 into the meeting, so we're actually doing pretty good here.
We're actually doing okay.
Yeah. And there's no trustee meeting, so yeah, just go straight to
Q&A.
We
can just be done.
I
exactly.
Can trustee notes.
Well, do not make a trustee meeting generator bot.
I
just said that, and I realized that I just sparked the idea. Please do not make a trustee meeting generator bot.
I7D and Dinty will probably beat you to that.
I'm going to need to take a phone call and prepare for my radio, so I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye, AP.
Ciao.
Okay. So this is the Q&A bit. So if you... who put that in broadcast?
Who did that?
Oh,
console?
no. Well, no. We could see who did it.
Oh, I know who.
That was Volt.
Yeah.
Of course it was Volt. Okay, so if anybody has questions that they would like to... Oh no. If anyone has questions that they want to ask, you can go ahead and either use the request to speak button if you want to talk, or if you want to just post your questions directly in, oh my god, if you have a question that you would like to just ask, you can go ahead and just put it in the meeting channel, and we will try to answer it. So, Q&A window is now open, and Amricon is now gone again.
Oh, there goes the unicorn.
Goodbye. So yeah, if anyone has questions, go ahead and ask now.
Can be questions about anything, mod noms.
How are you doing today, Chief? That's a question.
I'm doing good.
Isn't the ISM agenda already made?
Correct, and there are already 30 topics being loaded in there. So
Yep, it's been open since 2 days ago, Friday. But yeah, no, doing good. Took a flight yesterday. That was nice.
I'm assuming United.
I don't fly United.
Oh, sorry, Delta.
Yeah, not sure.
Yes.
I'll get the agenda link for that. The doc exists because some people have already sent topics in, but I'll get that doc out probably very soon after this GSM.
Cody, to answer your question, we don't speak Pantone because we use normal colors, specifically, the hex colors. Yes, we use hex colors. Java, there's no, okay. Can we do serious questions first? I haven't officially said please open the silly questions.
I don't think there was any serious questions.
It seems like there weren't any.
Yeah, I mean that happens.
GSM is odd. We have 2 new mods, but like very quiet. It's
what would happen if hypothetically we needed a December ISM because there were 20 topics that came in after the December GSM?
They get pushed to January. This is called advanced planning, people.
No, I mean, if there is demand, we could open it up, but it depends on availability. The problem is, the reason why we cancel that meeting is most people are actually, at least most staff, I think, may not be available. Right.
We obviously don't know exactly what it's going to look like specifically with regards to COVID, but traditionally, that's the holidays. So that's when people are not on the MRT because they're with family and or they're traveling. So it's it's basically the problem that we're going to run into is staff being able to take an hour and join in, which you might be able to think, oh, it's COVID. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just an hour. No, there's a lot more time that goes into prepping for and running these meetings than just the hour that you guys see. So
I think it also comes down to motivation. Do you really want to do a meeting while you're trying to relax during your holidays? I mean,
no.
Yeah.
No.
I like the idea.
We keep the November one just because Thanksgiving only matters to those in the US. And also whatever. But the December one is pretty universally like that's during the holidays. So we try to not do that. So that's why if you have an event that you want to run towards the end of the year, make sure to get it in time for the December general meeting.
I suppose if really need be, though, we could potentially just do some one-off approvals. Like, you want to run an event during the Christmas season, you don't for it in time. Yeah,
you can anyone is always welcome to self-fund an event. So you don't need our approval to run an event. You only need our approval if you want funding for it. Okay. Seeing that we're kind of done here with no serious questions, I think we can basically call this done. Niden, since I've applied your Discord permissions, so Niden, if you could join us in the newly visible orange staff voice channel. And the rest of the staff, we can jump over there just to get the rest of the onboarding checklist done.
Awesome. Congratulations. Very high.
And then we'll go from there. Yeah, welcome aboard.
Sorry, are there any other final reminders we need to give people? Like, again, mod noms there will be a July GSM, so mod noms are open. So if you do have any other nominations that you didn't get a chance to set in, please do so as soon as possible.
And also, if you have any feedback to us of what sorts of stuff you think that we could do to make the nominating process easier, we're certainly open to considering that. Yeah. So,
though I will say, considering that we've promoted 2 and the evidence was pretty, it was mixed, but a lot of it was valid.
There
There
was some very good evidence that came in today.
Yeah.
For today's meeting.
So based on that, maybe there may not need to be any changes, but we'll see. So.
Well, I mean, again, just if there's feedback, we're happy to at least take that.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't turn into anything. Yeah. I will just, for the sake of transparency, note that we did receive a little bit of evidence concerning today's the stuff that was happening in chat a few hours ago. We excluded that just based on the fact that it was just based on an event that is technically still ongoing, and so just in order to be sensitive to the people involved, we didn't exactly want to consider that, but the rest of the evidence that came in was pretty good. So, alrighty. Staff and I guess not staff and Needham, because Needham is now staff. Staff, we could retreat to the staff only channel and get this all started. Oh yes, thank you to whoever put that in broadcast. Yeah, that if
Maybe I'll get your stats.
if you're seeing stuff. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everybody for coming. That is the end of the meeting. Staff, if we could jump to staff only, please.